Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Hey y'all, what's good? Hope you had a pretty good week this week. Hope it's been productive. I know it's Friday, and a lot of you are probably out and everything, so I'm not expecting a lot of people to be in the chat because it is Friday. But anyhow, I'm gonna do this tutorial anyway. So this song, the song that I'm actually do this tutorial on, is actually a rather simple, a pretty simple one. And this is actually a Bruno Mars song, and it's called "Just the Way You Are." And I figured this is actually a pretty simple song because it's only like 3 chords. This song is only like 3 chords, so I think it's just pretty appropriate, whatever you want to call it. It's actually pretty cool though. So anyway, it is in the key of F major. All right, and right now I have my capo in the first fret again, just like I had for All of Me. But let me just take the capo off quickly. My strings are tuned. The notes of each string is E, A, D, sorry, E, I'm doing it backwards, E, B, G, D, A, E. And going from this way on down, E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay? Now, since this is E, it's tuned to an open E. Actually, the first and sixth string are both E's. Well, the next note after that is an F. There's no E sharp. There's no F flat. Technically, that's like the E and the F. Okay, so notation-wise, you're typically not going to see a F flat, and you're typically not going to see an E sharp. So the next note after the E is F. Now after F, you will get F sharp, G, G sharp, A flat, A, so on and so forth. So this note is an F. All right. So you can play this F major right here in this first fret. All right. If you play the E open, it's almost like the nut would be the open strings that you don't have to fret. But once you get in that first fret, you begin to actually have to fret all the strings some kind of way, whether you're barring some of the strings and you're fretting the rest of them, and you play your chord that way. All right. So I'll show you a couple of things with the songs, but the song, I'll show you a couple of things with this song. There are a couple of different ways that you could actually play some of the chords, but particularly the second chord, as well as the third. But we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. So first fret, because it's in the key of F. There are other cases where you can have the capo in the first fret, but you're not necessarily in the key of F. All right. So let's get started. All right. So let's go to the first chord, the very first chord right here. Okay. Now notice how I have this charted. Here is the F, like I explained. So here's where I have the capo. Okay. Right here. And like I've explained before, I have actually explained before that kind of lost my train of thought. Anyway, this is a F major chord. And let's go ahead and get into how to play it. So I'm going to explain where you actually put your fingers. And right here is basically where the C is, this F is, and where this A is right here. You're not really looking at this first fret, okay? You're really only looking at the C, F, and the A. All right? Keep that in mind. So if you did not have this capo on, you would be barring. You would be using your index finger to bar this. But since you have the capo, you don't have to do that, okay? That's the whole point. That's the whole point of a capo. So this C, where the C is, it's in the 3rd fret. And this is actually one of the reasons why I sometimes do tutorials without a capo, because sometimes it can be confused. Okay, the last live I did was All of Me by John Legend, and the reason why I showed that without the capo is because if I say 3rd fret on the A string, which is where this is, and someone mistakes it because I have the capo there, so they're going to think 3rd fret from the capo. So, you know, I want us to have an understanding of what I mean when I say this. So, the 2nd fret from the capo is where the C is, but it's the 3rd fret from the nut, okay? So the 2nd fret from the capo on the A string is your C. All right, so that's where the C is. It's still a C right here, okay? That F is the 2nd fret on the D string. All right, so right here, that's the 2nd fret on the D string. And the A is actually 1 fret away. It's the 1st fret from the capo, okay, on the G string. That's where that is. And those are the only notes that you're fretting to get your F major, all right? So it looks like this. Remember, oh yeah, this is what I was about to say. This is where I lost my train of thought and I started stumbling. I also remind you that this chart that you're seeing is like I'm looking down on this. So it's also like you have your guitar and you're looking down, and this is how you would see it. Okay, this chart is actually how you would see your fretboard looking down on your guitar. All right, so that's why I have both. I have it to where you can see this, you can see it this way, and I have it to where you can see it this way. All right. So this is how you play the F major chord. This is how it sounds. Okay. If I take this capo away, and I'm only going through this because there's a lot of confusion, you know, with guitars when they're just guitar players when they're just learning. Same chord. Okay. Some people get a little confused when there's a capo in place versus when there's not a capo in place. So let me just play the full chord progression so that you get an idea of how it should sound. Okay. Let me turn this all the way down. Oh, and let me do this. This is important. Hopefully you can hear that. I'm just playing my metronome. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's the whole song. All right. And some of you are familiar with the lyrics. The lyrics go, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing just the way you are. You know, it says, 'cause girl, you're amazing just the way you are. how it, like, resets. All right. So this will be relatively short. The next one, so the first one is the F major. I just showed you that. The next one is actually a D minor 7. Okay. So here's the D minor 7. This is not an open chord. There is an open position that you can play. I'm not certain as to what I should tell you as far as like what's more comfortable to play. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, it's really what's most comfortable for you. But this chord is down this way. It's actually on the 5th fret from the nut, but it's the 4th fret from the capo. So you go from the previous chord. Okay, that's how you actually go into it. But you could actually play that same chord without the capo. You could play it up here. So it sounds like, or same chord. If you were to play the F major without the capo, it actually would be a little bit easier to go into the D minor 7. But I would not suggest that you bar the F major. I would suggest you to mute the bottom 2 strings. When I say bottom, I'm talking about the low strings. And you just play the first 4 strings up. Okay, so don't do this. You're playing these. So you're flattening your finger on the 1st fret right here. And your middle finger is on that 2nd fret. Your index, your ring finger is on the D string on that 3rd fret. This is without the capo. And you mute those bottom strings this way, so that when you play, you're not sounding like this. That don't sound good. You wanna. And some people actually play the note with their thumb. That works out for some people. I do it sometimes. But anyway, if you play your F major this way, which is really only like the top strings right here, all you have to do is lift your ring finger to play the D minor 7, okay? But you still have to have this muted. So it would sound like this. Again. All right. So transition wise, that's very comfortable. But it's almost like a trade-off. If you have the capo on here and you're going down to play this bar chord, D minor 7, you still have to come up to the next chord. Okay, so one way or another, it's still a trade-off either way. Okay, so it's a matter of which one is comfortable for you. So I'm gonna show you, because I didn't show you what it actually is. I didn't talk about where you put your fingers. So remember, the capo for this shape is right here, remember? And in that 5th fret, okay, just the 5th fret period. It's the 4th fret from where the capo is, but it's the 5th fret where that D is, okay? And you're actually going to just bar everything on this 5th fret, okay? Everything on the 5th fret is barred, all right? And then 2 frets from where you're barring, which is the 7th fret, on the D string, and this is with your ring finger, you'll play the A. Okay, that's on the 7th fret of your D string. That's right here. All right, so if I'm looking down, 1, 2, 3, boom. That's where my ring finger is right there. And 1 fret away, or in other words, I appreciate that, like whoever gave that. With in the sixth fret where the F is, the sixth fret on the B string is where your middle finger is. This is where my middle finger is right here. This is how you play. All right. The other way to play the D minor 7 is this way, the one that I was just showing you. Okay. This is without the capo. And I'm actually pretty sensitive to like cheating, you know what I'm saying? This is why I show a lot of different ways to play one chord, because people get discouraged and they think that that's the only way that they can play a particular song, right? Understand, like, please stay reminded, like, there's never one way that you have to play a song. And I typically go through a song as I'm learning it to figure out the best way, the most easy way that I could actually show you how to play it, okay? So yeah, this D major 7, sorry about that, D minor 7 is this shape right here. It's like an open D minor 7. So this D is open, okay? So you're not fretting that. And then the second fret from the nut where the A is on the G string is where you play that A. That's, yeah, I play that with my middle finger. And in the first fret, you're bridging, or you're like, in a way, you're like barring both the B and E string, okay, in the first fret. And it sounds like this. And it sounds almost identical. Well, unless I play the high E string, you have the extra note that. So that's the only difference between the two variations, is that high one versus. But it's the same chord. So again, if you were to play it. Or if you, I played it full on, but if you only played the top part of the major chord, you don't even have to move it. Okay, back with the capo. All right, this next chord is the final chord. This song only has 3 chords in it the whole time. There's no, even the bridge, it's the same. It's the same chords. All right, so this right here, again, the capo. Currently, I have the capo right here, okay, in the first fret. So you're only fretting these 3 notes. So you're in the 3rd fret on your D, G, and B string. It's 2 frets away from the capo. All right. And I don't have no particular way for you to play this chord. You can flatten one finger across those strings. You can take 3 fingers and put them there. To be honest, oftentimes when I play a major chord, I play like a what's technically like an add 2. It's like an add 2 type of chord. And that D, I actually don't play that, you know what I'm saying? Because I like the way the 2, I like the way the 2 sounds, and that add 9, add 2 sound, like 2 and 9 is actually the same, if I were to explain that to you. But if I were to play this, it's actually a B flat major. If I lift my pinky, you know, it's a little different. So if I were to play it all together. versus all right, so both of those colors are a little bit different. Now, the cool thing about this B flat major chord is that if you do this, if you use your middle ring, sorry, if you use your middle ring and pinky to play that, okay, like this. One cool way that you can actually color those chords is you're kind of limited if you, well, not limited, but if you play it by flattening your finger, that's one way. But if you play it this way, you could actually lift your pinky and add color to the chord like this. Or I hope y'all heard that. But yeah, I like that. You know, there are different ways that you can add colors to the chords. Okay. Let me start that over. I was trying to stay on the metronome. I'm a real stickler about my rhythm on acoustic guitar. It bugs me when I get off, because I do get off sometimes. But anyway, those are all the chords, okay? F major. Okay, I know I just played it for you, but you got the F major, D minor 7, B flat major, or you can do that, add two things, back to F major, without the capo. Remember that. Oh yeah, if you play without the capo, you still have to make sure that you bar. You still have to make sure that you bar, like whatever the capo was actually barring. You have to do that on that first fret if you play the B flat major. Okay, but you could also play that top half. So instead of doing that, you can just do this. If you're gonna do the add two thing, all right. So here's how that looks. Here's how that looks, okay? Oh, sorry. So this, I'm not playing the full. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna mute the top. So yes, those are all the chords. Now, if anybody else is on, if y'all got questions for me right now, I'll stick around for a couple of minutes if you have questions. But other than that, I'm gonna head out, and I hope that this was straightforward. And I'll go through the chords briefly one more time, just, you know, for the look of it. So there's the F major. There's how that looks. Remember, you can play this by barring the first fret or having the capo there. Keep that in mind. The and remember, if you're playing a chord, you don't have to play the full thing. You can play the top three strings right here. And when I say top three, I'm talking about right here, the higher strings, because you're looking at it, it's like right. That's really the top. That's another way to refer to it. Okay, so keep that in mind. That actually makes it easier to move around on the fretboard. Here is coming from the 5th fret, a bar chord from the 5th fret. That's the D minor 7. One little tip. One little tip is you can actually, like, say if you're barring from the 5th fret, or really any fret, if it's a minor chord, if it's in this shape, typically, not all the time, but typically you can actually hammer on. You can bar it, right? So just bar it with the index finger like this. And then fret the rest of it, like hammer down on it. So if you were to play this song, so that's a little easy tip. Okay. So, but another way that you can play that, remember, is this next one. That's the same chord. That's a D minor 7 right there. Okay. I've already explained how you play that, but you can see it right there. You can rewind it and do whatever you got to do. Okay. So the way that looks still. Now, you won't get the same effect if you decide to do the hammer-on thing. That's not going to be the same, but you can still play it. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't come out the same. Well, maybe if you do this one, if you do it with the middle finger. Nope. Yeah. So yeah, going from the F. Then the B flat. So that is pretty much it. I hope that this was helpful. Hope it helped somebody, and hope you had a good week. This song is actually great for, like Valentine's Day, if you call it Love Day, whatever, however you refer to it. If you want to learn this song real quick for, your significant other, your wife, or, whoever else, it's something you can sing to her. And it's an easy 3-chord progression. And I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, so Valentine's Day, we all know that's coming up. And I've been sharing actually other songs that that work for that day. If you just want to do something romantic for that day or for that weekend, however you decide to do it. I've posted Lost Without You by Robin Thicke. All of Me, that is by John Legend. And now this is The Way You Are, or Just the Way You Are, by Bruno Mars. Now, I have other songs. I got Anniversary by Tony. I have that tutorial up as well. So, got some songs that are actually useful, if you decide to learn how to play it. So if you have any questions, hit me up. If my teaching style suits you, go ahead and subscribe. And there is a link in the description. It's actually a free mini course. And this works for whether you're a beginner and or an intermediate player. It actually, if you're intermediate, it'll give you a little more understanding as to like what you're doing. Most intermediate players, believe it or not, they call themselves intermediate players, but they've just memorized a whole bunch of shapes. I'm not personally into only memorizing shapes. That is a good starting point. At some point, you actually want to know what the shapes, you want to make sense of the shapes. So memorizing shapes is not enough, not even on piano. It's like, memorize the shapes, do that as a starting point. But at some point, you want to make sense. You want to make sense of why the notes are where they are. All right. So this mini course will give you a good introduction. And actually, maybe it's a little more than an introduction as well. If you learn it, you can transfer it to other keys. Okay. But anyway, this link is in the description. These are like 5 modules that are actually pretty valuable, and it's free for you if you want to take advantage of that opportunity. And I'll be doing more lives. Okay, I'll be doing more lives of some other songs. I already got a list, so I already know what I'm doing. But you can suggest something if you would like. So subscribe for those of you who liked already. I appreciate your liking. And yeah, I'll see you maybe tomorrow. All right, and I'm out.